day to you, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you so very much for joining us this week. Is it the first Friday? Am I getting it correct, or is it the second? Anyway, my brain is all over the place today. Thanks again for tuning in to our program today. The first half of our program is dedicated to what I called earlier on social media, woman power. Of course, when women in our society, especially our prominent women, when they would have achieved another step of greatness, it is very, very important for us to highlight that, because it, in a sense, also serves as a good role model for our young women and our young girls. And one of the women, and of course, you know, I always put the People's National Congress reform first, because of course my heart is very close to that. That is the party to which I belong to, and I always like to remind people, yes, I boast about it, that the PNCR is the largest political party in the APNU-AFC coalition government, so I have a right to boast about that. This achievement is a PNCR one, and it's a big achievement for a woman. Most of you who follow the local news and so on would have read and saw on television sometime last weekend that the People's National Congress reform has a new general secretary, and it is the first ever female general secretary for the People's National Congress reform, Minister of Social Protection, the Honorable Amna Ali. She has served as Assistant General Secretary for the People's National Congress Reform for a very long time, but it's my pleasure to congratulate her as being the first female General Secretary for that party. Welcome back to Facing the Nation, Minister Ali, and congratulations to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Malika.
All right, it's great to have you. Our viewers, just to remind you that, of course, she's coming on immediately after the former General Secretary of the PNCR, Mr. Oscar Clark. He would have retired, and he has served. I don't have enough time on this program to tell you about all his achievements, but we'll try to get him on sometime later down in the month to talk about those achievements and indeed how it is that he feels about handing over the reins when it comes to PNCR. Of course, he's not leaving the party. He has just retired from the post of General Secretary. Minister Ali, we're not only talking about that today, but we're also going to get an update from Minister Ali regarding her work since she has taken over in the Ministry of Social Protection. Remember the last time we spoke with her on this very program, it would have been 7 months ago or so, back in January, and she did tell you about all the preparations that she would have been making to head that ministry, and she has done a lot so far. But before we deal with social protection today, let's talk about you being the first General Secretary of the PNCR, because I know PNCR is also one of your babies. So tell me about that. How does it feel, you know, to be the first female General Secretary of that party?
Well, Malika, thank you again for having me. You know, some people expect when they ask you how you feel, you must say whether you are happy or sad. Mm-hmm. But I want to say that it is a challenge to serve in such a high capacity as a General Secretary for such a dynamic party, the People's National Congress Reform. Mm-hmm. And I feel good about it, especially being the first female General Secretary. But you know, our party is not a party that doesn't recognize the worth of women. Mm-hmm. Because apart from being the first General Secretary of the party, we have had several women in top positions in our party. Mm-hmm. We've had Ormia Johnson serving as Assistant General Secretary for many, many years. We've had Hyacinth Goddard, Shirley Field Ridley, mm-hmm. Viola Burnham, and so on. So our women play a very important role in our party. Leader David Granger has seen it fit to put me in such a position, and I must say that when duty calls, yes, I'm willing to serve. And I trust that I can serve well in this capacity as General Secretary of the party.
All right. Well, we've seen Minister Ali do so much as Assistant General Secretary, so I can imagine what's going to happen now that she's General Secretary. Minister Ali, I want to also talk about the principal political secretaries. But before I do that, viewers, I must also remind you that this appointment is happening in a year also when the PNCR, well, of course, this was before the reform component was added, but it's happening in a year when the PNC is actually turning 60 years. So this really and truly is a significant achievement. Minister Ali, let's talk about the principal political secretaries. Is this a new thing, and how will they support your role? And of course, you in turn support and train them, because I know one of the persons appointed as principal political secretary is also a youth, which is also close to this administration's heart. Minister Ali.
Yes. Now, first of all, our constitution, the People's National Congress Reform Constitution, provides for the appointment of 3 principal political secretaries. And so in keeping with the Constitution, these appointments are made.
Okay.
You may know that Sandra Adams from Linden has been appointed. Honorable Minister Dawn Hastings has also been appointed. And young Brian Smith, the General National Secretary of the GYSM, has been appointed. This morning I had my first meeting with them, looking at how we as a team will work together and do the work that we are supposed to be doing for the People's National Congress in the respective positions. Now, while some people will not be full-time, we have also been able to indicate what are the days we are going to be able to be at Congress Place. And we have also been able to identify areas to which we are going to be focusing on. So I think that having had that meeting this morning, we are on the right track. We know what our focus is going to be, and we're going to start our work.
Okay. I don't know how much at this time you would want to, or how much at this time would be ethical for you to reveal, but are there immediate plans that you have in mind? Because again, this is a party that is 60 years old, and we have to, it has done a lot of work to stay in the time that we're moving toward. Have you been able to identify anything specific that you would want to begin to focus on regarding continuing the building and strengthening and developing of the PNCR?
Yes, certainly. We've looked at areas such as restructuring the Secretariat in terms of duties of various people. And we have looked at a general structure within which, a framework within which we are going to operate the Secretariat from. We have looked at areas such as membership, outreaches, and public relations. And there are other areas that we've looked at, but at this point in time, I wouldn't want to, discuss that, but because it's a political organization, of course, and therefore, but really, we have in mind, as a matter of fact, I must tell you that on Saturday, tomorrow, I'm going to be in Region 2 for a short period, and when I get back, I'm meeting with key people in the party from various regions in the afternoon. Okay. So we have plans. So we want our certain things to come from our key party people from within the region. So I believe discussions, are necessary before we really formulate an ongoing program.
Okay. Well, most times, especially, I like to take things from social media and things because our people, our citizens, they are entitled to their opinions. So not to put a damper on the success, because of course, and those who know me know that I am also pro-Minister Ali. But there are some sentiments people are seemingly concerned about whether Amna Ali can function as Minister of Social Protection and the General Secretary of the PNCR and still carry that sort of weight? How do you respond to those comments and sometimes negative criticisms?
Now, let me say this, Malika. Amna Ali is a woman with great strength and capacity. And I can tell you this, that I will be able to function effectively, both as Minister of Social Protection as well as General Secretary. I can also tell you that in the Ministry of Social Protection, as of 1st of July, there is a transfer of duties from the Ministry of Culture, Education, of the New Opportunity Corps in Essequibo to the Ministry of Social Protection.
Okay.
That is a very important organization and an important field with a lot of work. And I believe that if there wasn't confidence in Amna Ali, the president would not have made such a move. And I believe that I will, with the support staff and with the team that we have and the way we are structuring our work, we are going to be more than successful. This is not only about Amna Ali. Look, the PNC is an institutionalized party. The PNC has very vibrant officers. The executive is a vibrant executive. The youth arm as well as the women's arm, they are very vibrant and supportive. Each has a role to play. Management is important, and I believe that I have the capacity to ensure that our structure is in place, our structure works, and that these activities, they are supportive. They will contribute to the strength of the party, and so on. So I'm not afraid of the critics. You will have critics. I'm sure that if there weren't critics, something really would have been wrong. But I'm not bothered about that. I'm happy to serve, and I know that I will be able to serve in both capacities very well.
Okay, great. Viewers, we still have one more question to touch on as it relates to her being the General Secretary, the new General Secretary of the PNCR, and of course we're going to talk a little bit about social protection. Viewers, if it seems as though we're trying to push the conversation along a little quicker, just to remind you, today is the sitting of the National Assembly, so when Minister Ali leaves here, she has to prepare to go off to Parliament. So that is why we're trying to shorten our conversation as much as we possibly can. Minister Ali, before we deal with social protection, you did outline all the plans you have for the PNC, PNCR. Some of it. And you also talked about what you've already done in terms of getting on the ball between, and it's amazing, you have done a lot of work already in 1 week.
Yeah.
Again, for those who may still be a bit apprehensive, in terms of a breath of fresh air, this is apart from already what you've said. What is Amna Ali going to bring in this year, 2017 and beyond, to the PNCR in terms of freshness?
I will bring new energy. New energy with the support of the many people and the new structure, the implementation of it. We are going to have new energy. Okay. And I think the PNC will be a more vibrant party.
Okay, great. Well, once again, congratulations on that, and you will certainly have the support, and I know for a fact, of all the arms, including, as she mentioned, the youth arm and also the women's arm. Let's talk about social protection now. When we spoke in January, you were still not new to the work of social protection and human services, but you were new to that ministry. How has it gone thus far, and have you been able to achieve some of what you've set out to, at least in the beginning of the first half of the year?
Well, I must say that I am proud of the Ministry of Social Protection. I feel as though I have been there for years and years and years. And I believe that we have achieved quite a lot. Malika, I must I must specifically say that I believe in teamwork. And I think that the staff at the Ministry of Social Protection, they have been very supportive, cooperative, innovative. They have been very supportive. Mm-hmm. They have been, executing their tasks without fear and favor. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we have achieved quite a lot. And one of the most recent things that we have achieved is getting Guyana to tier 1 in the situation of trafficking in persons. Mm-hmm. And that is a major achievement for us in the Ministry of Social Protection. But getting to tier 1, it wasn't done in months. I must first of all thank my predecessor, Ms. Volda Lawrence, who started work in that area. And that work was intensified beginning January of this year. We have established a national committee. We have conducted a lot of awareness programs. Mm-hmm. We have done a lot of sensitization. We have done a lot of training. We have involved the medical practitioners. We have worked closely with the Guyana Police Force, who is part of the national committee. Mm-hmm. We continue to do work in that area because we believe that not only reaching tier 1, but we must completely eliminate trafficking in persons in Guyana. And the U.S. State Department has made a number of recommendations, and I want to say we thank them. They are quite good recommendations. We have started to implement, and we are going to implement every letter and word of those recommendations made, because we are serious about it and we really want trafficking in persons to be eliminated.
And there are recommendations that we can work with, and we wouldn't be stretching if we attempt.
No, it is no stretching.
Okay.
It is just adhering to rules and, doing a lot of internal work with the traffickers and so on.
Well, I know our women and our children, thanks the ministry in Guyana as a whole, because you did talk about team effort for that, because it serves as a way to protect our women and girls, especially those who live in the hinterland communities and the mining areas and so on. Now, you're, again, women and children, you've sort of taken that on in the Ministry of Social Protection. Let's talk about some of the other projects.
Okay, now you probably know about the geriatric home, the Palms. Yes. We've been doing a lot of work to improve on the quality of service that we provide at the Palms. We have increased the staff at the Palms with qualified people. And we are doing currently physical works to, give more space, better facilities, and so on. And we are promised some money from the Islamic Bank to do some further improvements. And we have begun that process by providing what we need and so on. We trust that we can get it eventually, because we are interested in providing better services for our people, in these institutions, in various institutions, in the homes, Palms, night shelter, the children's center, and so on. As a matter of fact, I must tell you that since I took office, we have achieved two things. One, two additional things. The center at Mahaiko, we have completed its rehabilitation, and preparation for children with disability and so on. We have upgraded our facilities to take care of that, and that is a project we're very proud of, because there are children in society with disabilities, and we must have preparations for them. So that project is completed. We have also embarked on the road of sustainability in economic services. And at the Chavez Center, which is at Onverwac, West Coast, Babies, we have embarked on a massive project. This project is one where we have several fish ponds. We had 2 fish ponds. We have dug 3 additional fish ponds. At the moment, we have 2,000 fingerlings in the ponds. We have made pens for ducks, both Muscovy and Peking. We have made pen for Creole fowls. We have made pen for sheep, and we have made pen for meat birds. As a matter of fact, I'm so happy. At this weekend, we are going to be doing plucking of the meat birds. We have also made a modern plucking center for the meat birds. We have also done a greenhouse and so on. So we are hoping that we are able to provide food, meat and vegetables for inmates of the Palms, the Children's Center, the Chavez Center, and so on. We might not be able to produce all of what we need, but at least we've embarked on that project, so we are going to be able to sustain.
And in the long run, it will, help to save some of our money and help us to economize and so on. And again, encouraging us to feed ourselves and grow more and so on. And on the low.
Malika, we have done so many other things. Look, I've been to Essequibo since and issued license to daycare centers in Region 2, 13 of them.
And they were operating without
license
before?
Exactly. And on Monday, I'm going to Linden to further issue another 12 to daycare centers there. I think only in Georgetown we had licensed daycare centers. But we're trying to do this all across the regions. Our children need proper care. They need to be safe. They need to operate in safe spaces. And so we are embarking on these various projects to ensure that that happens.
Okay, all right. Quickly, with all of those projects, you can safely say that thus far, because the minute you know it, it's November, then we'll be talking about budget 2018. So you've been able to efficiently, to some extent, utilize the budget for the ministry for 2017?
To a large extent, yes. We have not been doing too well in terms of capital projects, but we have got reasons for that, because we want, when the monies are disbursed, they're disbursed properly. Okay. The beneficiaries, are the rightful people, and the procedures are followed. Many times in anxiety, people do things without following the rules. Well, the Ministry of Social Protection will be doing the things, but we are following the rules, and we are ensuring that the things are done properly. For example, the SLED project, which has $100 million, we're not just going to take it and walk around with the money in our pockets as though it is our personal money. We've set criteria, and we are utilizing the criteria. We're following the criteria so that young people, women, vulnerable people, and so on, that they can benefit properly from that SLED program. And already we have about 19 projects coming forward where we are perusing and we are ensuring. I can tell you that even though we have not been spending that money, before the year out. We are going to spend it, but we want to follow the procedures and ensure that these monies go in the rightful places, and it is not, like given away as though it's a gift to people.
Okay, understood. Minister Ali, I know I have to let you go, but finally, before I do, I can't have you on Facing the Nation at the end of what some may say was a hard week for Guyana. I'd like you to leave our youths, those who are fully educated and those who are not so educated. I'd like you to leave with them an inspirational word, some advice and so on. And I'm specifically talking about a 15-year-old was detained for murdering a taxi driver yesterday, and then earlier in the week we had what shocked so many persons in society, because a young man who studied abroad, got a degree, a proper profession, and he was killed while attempting to rob a bank. What would you like to say to not only young people at this time, but parents, society, as the Minister of Social Protection, before I let you go?
The ultimate thing is not to get rich quickly. We have got to be able to understand President Granger promised a good life for all. His policies are geared for us to have this good life. And I know that with the change of government, people expect everything today as if there is no tomorrow. I want to urge parents to counsel their children to ensure that they understand what life has to offer, what Guyana has to offer, what this coalition government has to offer, and not to think only of the get-rich-quick syndrome. So I would say, young people, have faith in this government. We are going to be able to deliver to you. We have been delivering, and there is much more in store.
Okay, well said. Thank you so much, Minister Ali. I have talked the minister out, and I caused her to have a dry throat, so I definitely have to let her go now. I did promise you that my conversation with the minister would be very brief today, because she has to go across to the National Assembly. There is a sitting today. Those of you who missed that conversation, I would have been chatting with the Honorable Minister of Social Protection. Our conversation came against the backdrop that Minister Ali was recently appointed General Secretary, which is a big achievement, really great feat for us, because she's the first female General Secretary of the People's National Congress. So thanks again to Minister Ali. And coming up in the second half of our program, I'll be getting the usual University of Guyana update from the Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Ivelaw Griffith. But for those of you who missed that earlier conversation with Minister Ali, you will be able to get that on my YouTube channel and on Facebook before the day's end. This is Facing the Nation. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Malika.